Hi there, welcome to my new video on creating an interactive dashboard in Excel. Previously, I have created a similar video with very basic charts and dashboard. If you haven't watched it yet, I would recommend to watch it to grab the concept. As in this video, we will be creating a more detailed and comprehensive dashboard. This is how our dashboard will look at the end. The very first step of any data analysis project is to understand the data. Let's know a bit about our data. The table represents Superstore sales data. The Superstore has its presence all over the United States. It deals with sales of various products like furniture, office supply, technology, etc. It has columns like order ID, order date, ship mode, customers, and so on. A link to the dataset is also provided in the description below. Creating an interactive dashboard in Excel is a three-step process. First step is to create pivot table and pivot chart. Second step is to arrange all the charts in a single sheet. And third step is to apply slicers and timelines. Let's create these KPIs first. Total sales, total quantity, total profit, profit margin percentage. For that, let's go to our data set. Select any cell from the data, then go to Insert, then Pivot Table, then from Table Range, then New Worksheet, click OK. Let's drag the cells, quantity and profit field in values. We need one more column, that is profit margin percentage. Profit margin percent is sum of profit divided by sum of sales into 100. Let's calculate that. Sum of profit divided by sum of sales. Let's put it in bracket into 100. Let's format these numbers as we don't need the decimal places. For that, select the cell, then right click, then number format, then number, then decimal places 0, then click. Then let's change the sheet name as KPI, and let's change the name in pivot table too. For that, select any cell from the data, then pivot table analyze, then here pivot table name KPI. Let's create this sales by region chart. Let's go to our data set. Select any cell from the data, then go to Insert, then Pivot Table, from Table Range, then New Worksheet, click OK. Let's put this region in rows and cells in values. We don't need this grand total over here. For that, select any cell, then go to Design, then sub grand totals, then offer rows and columns. Here we need in percentage, so go to values, then sum of values, click over here in the arrow mark, then value field setting, then show values as, then here select percentage of grand total, then number format, we don't need the decimal places, it should be 0, then click OK, then click OK. Now let's create the column chart. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to pivot table analyze, then pivot chart, column chart, then click OK. Here we don't need this sum of cells and region. So select the chart, then go to pivot chart analyze. Here field buttons, hide all, delete this total too. Let's change the chart name as sales by region. Sales by region. Let's organize these columns in descending order. For that, select the column, then right click, then sort largest to smallest. Then let's add the trend line. Go to chart elements, then trend line. Sales by region chart is created. Let's rename the sheet region. Here also in pivot chart analyze, change the name as region. Let's create this sales by segment chart. For that, let's go back to our data. Select any cell from the data, then go to insert, then pivot table, then new worksheet, click OK. Let's place this segment in rows and cells in values. We don't want these values in numbers, we want it in percentage. So go to values, then click on this arrow mark, then value field setting, then show value as. Here select percentage of grand total. Number format, we need 0 decimal places, so change it to 0, then click OK, then OK. We don't want the grand total over here, so select the cell from pivot table, then go to design, then grand totals, then offer rows and columns. Now let's create the donut chart. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to pivot table analyze, then pivot chart, then pie chart, then donut, then click OK. We don't want the sum of cells and segment here, so go to pivot chart analyze, then fill buttons, hide all. Let's put the label in our chart. For that, go to chart element, then data label. Let's change the chart name as cells by segment. Let's change the pivot table name. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to pivot table analyze, then pivot table name. Let's make it a segment. Cells by segment chart is created. Now let's create this cells by shipping mode chart. For that, let's go back to our data. Select any cell from the data, then go to insert, then pivot table, then new worksheet, then click OK. Let's put this ship mode in rows and cells in values. We want this sum of cells in percentage, so go to values, then click on this arrow mark, then value field setting, then go to show value as, then here change it as percentage of grand total, then number format, we want 0 decimal places, so click OK, then click OK. We don't need this grand total over here, so go to design, then grand totals for rows and columns. Now let's create a bar chart. For that, go to pivot table analyze, then pivot chart, then bar chart, then click OK. Let's delete this total from here. We don't need this sum of cells and ship mode over here, so go to pivot chart analyze, fill buttons, hide all. Let's change the chart title as cells by shipping mode. Cells by. We don't want these grid lines over here. To remove these grid lines, go to chart element, then grid lines and put trend lines. Let's arrange these bars in descending order. For that, select the bars, then right click, then sort, then sort smallest to largest. Cells by shipping mode chart is created. Let's change the sheet name as shipping mode. Then go to pivot table, then pivot table analyze, then pivot table name. Let's make it a shipping mode. Let's create sales by category chart. Let's go back to our data. Select any cell from the data, then go to insert, then pivot table, then new worksheet, then click OK. Put category in rows and cells in values. Convert these values in percentage. For that, go to values, this arrow mark, value field setting, then show values as, then percentage of grand total, then number format, decimal places to 0, then click OK, then OK. We don't want this grand total. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to design, then grand total, then for rows and columns. Let's create the tree map. For that, select the cell, then pivot table analyze, then pivot chart, tree map. Here you can see that you cannot create this chart type with data inside pivot table. Please select a different chart type or copy the data outside the pivot table. So we cannot create tree map in pivot table. So let's go back. Let's create a new table, category and cells. Then let's copy these values from this pivot table to another table. For that, select the cell, then type equal, then select this cell, then hit enter, then copy this cell and drag over here. Select the column, then right click, then format cells. It's in percentage, decimal places to 0, then click OK. Let's create the tree map. For that, select these two columns, then go to insert, then recommended charts, then all charts, then tree map, then click OK. Let's customize the chart. For that, go to chart element. We don't need this legend. In data label, go to more data label option. Then we need the values over here, this percentage. So select the values. Let's change the chart title as sales by category. Let's change the sheet name, category, and pivot table name. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to pivot table analyze, pivot table name. Let's make it as category. Cells by category chart is created. Let's create this cells by subcategory chart. Select any cell from the data, then go to insert, then pivot table, then new worksheet, click OK. Put subcategory on rows and cells in values. Let's change these values in percentage. Go to values, arrow mark, then value field setting. So value as here percentage of grand total, number format should be percentage, then decimal places 0, then click OK, then OK. We don't want this grand total over here. So select any cell, then go to design, then grand totals for rows and columns. Let's create the bar chart. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to pivot table analyze, then pivot chart, then bar chart, then click OK. We don't need this sum of cells and subcategory. For that, go to pivot chart analyze, then field buttons, then hide all. We don't need this grid lines over here, so go to chart elements, then remove grid line. We don't want this total over here, so delete this one too. Let's change the chart title as cells by subcategory. Let's arrange these bars in descending order. For that, select the bar, then right click, then sort smallest to largest. Let's change the seat name as subcategory and change the pivot table name to. Go to pivot table, then pivot table analyze, then pivot table names. Here it's subcategory. Cells by subcategory chart is created. Let's create this monthly sales chart. Select any cell from the data, then go to insert, then pivot table, then new worksheet, then click OK. Let's put this order date in rows and cells in values. We just need monthly sales data here. So let's remove year, quarter and date from rows. For that, select year, then remove field, select quarter, then remove field, then order date and remove field. We don't need this grand total over here. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to design, then grand total, then off for rows and columns. Let's create the line chart. For that, select any cell from the table, then go to pivot table analyze, then pivot chart, line chart, then click OK. We don't need this sum of cells and months here. So let's go to pivot chart analyze, field buttons, then hide all. Let's delete this total. Let's change this chart title as monthly sales, seat name as monthly sales, and here in pivot chart as monthly sales. Let's create this map chart. Select any cell from the data, then go to insert, then pivot table, then new worksheet, then click OK, then put the state in rows and cells in values. Like tree map, we cannot create a map chart directly from pivot table. So we have to create another table by copying data from pivot table. Let's do that. Let's create another table here. The column name as states and another column name cells. Select the cell here, then type equal, then copy this cell, then hit enter. Now drag this to here, then for entire column like this. Let's remove this grand total from here. For that, select any cell, then go to design, then grand total, then offer rows and columns. Just delete this from here. Let's create the map chart. For that, select these two columns, control key, then select another one, then go to insert, then recommended charts, then field map, then click OK. Let's change the chart name as sales by states, seat name as states. Let's change the name in pivot table too. For that, select any cell from the pivot table, then go to pivot table analyze, then pivot table name. Let's make it as states. Map chart is created. We have created all the required charts and graphs. Let's jump to the second step, that is to arrange all the charts and graphs in a single sheet. Let's create a new sheet named as dashboard. I have created this label in Microsoft PowerPoint and saved it in JPG format. Let's copy this and paste it in dashboard sheet. Right click, then options. Let's insert a text box here. For that, go to insert, then text, then text box, then create a text box here. Likewise, let's insert text box for all these 4 KPIs boxes. Let's write the Dashboard title as Superstore Sales Data Analysis here. Superstore, change the size to 24, make it bold, then center. Let's bring the KPIs here from the KPI sheet. Just select the text box, then go to formula bar, then type equal, then go to KPI sheet. Here we are going to bring the sum of cells. Select that cell, then hit enter. The total sales KPI is here. Likewise, we can bring all the KPIs. First select the text box, then go to formula bar, then type equal, then go to KPI. Here we are going to bring the sum of quantity, then select that cell, then hit enter, and here you go. Likewise, let's bring other two KPIs. Let's copy the sales by region chart from region sheet and paste it here in dashboard sheet. For that, let's go to region sheet, then select the chart, then Control C, copy it, then go to dashboard sheet and paste it here. Let's resize the chart so that it will be fit in this small box here. Similarly, we can bring all the charts from different sheet to dashboard sheet. All the charts and graphs are now arranged in this dashboard sheet. Let's write the KPI titles. Here it is total sales. Then hit enter. Then make the alignment as center. Similarly, let's write it as total quantity. Let's remove these grid lines from sales by region chart. For that, select the chart. Then go to this plus sign, that is chart elements. Then uncheck this grid line option. We don't need this outline here. To remove this, just select the text box, then go to save format, then save outline, select no outline. Let's remove outlines from all KPIs, text boxes and charts in similar way. Let's insert the timeline. For that, select any chart, then go to pivot chart analyze, then insert timeline. Here you will get all the date columns present in our data. Let's select the order date, then click OK. Let's arrange it in this small box. Here we need the year, so select year, and here you go. Let's insert the slicers. For that, select any chart, then go to pivot chart analyze, then insert slicer. Here we are going to insert region and category slicer, then click OK. Let's arrange these slicers in these small boxes. Let's change the order date slicer as 2015 and region as central. Here you can observe that only the sales by region chart is changing based on the changes that we are making. To apply size slicers and timeline for all the charts, let's select the timeline, then go to timeline, then report connection. Let's select all these check boxes. Similarly, let's do it for all the slicers too. Select the slicer, then go to slicer, then report connection, then select all the seed, then click OK. Then select category slicer, then go to slicer, then report connection. Here select all the seed, then click OK. Here we can observe that the data and charts are changing and reflecting the values based on the applied filters. We can also change the layout of the dashboard based on our choice or requirement. For that, go to page layout, then theme. Let's make it as this one. And here you go. That's all for this video. Thank you.